I don't know how you can spend time with an ex, someone who you had that level of emotional depth with, and it not be a thing. So I think that's
Never.
like the equivalent.
I could never have someone that I'm like talking to, whatever, friends with their ex. Are you okay?
Why wouldn't you ever shoot your shot?
Nah, it would always play on my mind like, you're with me because I approached you. Like, I need to be approached. Yeah.
Guys are just looking for anything, any sign anywhere.
Yeah.
They're like, guys, I think this is her hair. She left it here on the chair that I'm sitting on. That must mean she's into me, bro.
It's a sign.
It's a freaking sign. Yo, guys, welcome back to another episode on my channel. I'm sitting in this spot, which means I've got a great conversation lined up for you today. You know, on this channel, we love to talk about all things relationships and seeing what we can do to attract the kind of relationship we want. So without further ado, please welcome back to the show, Gina.
Hey guys.
How you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So a few of you guys were like, hey, listen, we love this guest. You know, a few of you ladies were like, what she was saying was big facts and we don't hear it enough. So I was like, hey, let's bring her back on. And she was happy to oblige. So you know me, I like to jump right in. So tell us your age or your age range and one thing about you a guy should know if he wants to take you on a date.
Oh, okay. I'm 25. I think I'm a year younger than I was when we first, well, a year older.
True, that was last year. Yeah, big facts.
And something a guy needs to know about me before taking me on a date.
Yeah, like if he wanted to come across in a good way or make the right impression, what about you that should he know? They'd be like, oh, okay, I'll do that.
I think keep it respectful. I won't entertain just disrespect, really.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you had that before on a first date with a guy?
I've not, actually. I've
good.
never had it, but obviously I wouldn't pay anyone attention who I even thought was disrespectful anyway. So that's probably why, I guess.
maybe you choose well. Is that fair to say?
Well,
no?
Yeah, I do. Because I have a long vetting process. So I think I choose well.
You did say this last time.
Yeah.
Something about you have to talk to a guy for an extended period of time. So like what's the vetting process?
Well, I would say I see someone out or like whatever. Like, know people through friends or they'll talk to me first, like DM, whatever. Then I speak to them for a while, get to know them a bit, kind of see what they're like. If I get like a different vibe that I'm not really happy with, then just like stop talking or continue to talk a bit, but just sometimes I get it, like I could be wrong. So I like to give them a chance a bit and then, just see what the talking stage is very long for me.
Okay.
Very long.
And in terms of like what kind of energy that you go, oh, okay, that would make me go, I don't know if this person's for me. Like, what are you looking for when you are kind of talking and building that rapport with someone?
I think there's like little tells. So for example, say you're having a conversation with a guy. This happened to me once before and it was just a convo like about future plans and whatever. Yeah. And he mentioned that he would always wanted to like live with his boys and he feels like that's something that he hasn't done yet.
He wants to be a YouTuber. That's what it is. He wants to have his own beta squad. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that's lit though.
Yeah, that can be fun for sure.
Yeah, but I feel like at this age, still wanting to live with your boys, if you haven't yet, and you're also looking for someone, I think is a bit of a red flag because if you're looking to be serious with a girl, I feel like personally your intention should be wanting to maybe progress with her rather than your boys.
When you say at this age, how old was he?
26.
Okay, so mid creeping into late 20s. I get that. I guess at that age, kind of 20s, not that maybe guys are always still partying, some are, but yeah, I know what you mean. Because some people, I think that's around that age, that's when a lot of couples, if they've been together in their adult life, they start moving in together, they're buying a place together if they can and all of this stuff. So because of that, were you like, oh, okay, our things aren't aligned? Or
it wouldn't write it off completely. But I think they are little tells that might have like later down the line, I could have been like, oh, see, I should have listened to the signs kind of thing.
So do you think like if you guys had got together and things were progressing, let's say you've been together for a couple of years, do you think he would be like, nah, babe, I want to stay with my boys till the end of time? Do you think it would have been like that?
That's the thing. I wouldn't put myself in that situation.
I respect that.
But it could.
I respect that.
That's why I have to give it a chance, because you kind of think, well, maybe it's just because he hasn't met someone like me before. So
very true.
I get that side of it, but they are little things that would play on my mind a bit, thinking about future things.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing that plays on your mind?
With guys?
Yeah, like let's say you're talking to a guy, or like you've started dating a guy. What's the biggest thing that plays on your mind? Because we all have our things. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, I know it sounds really immature.
Nah, go for it.
But the phone thing, like, it really bugs me. You know, like when, say he's on his phone and he's just like, or he'll put it down this way.
I feel that's so obvious. Do people do that? Do people go, oh, so good talking to you? Boop.
Yeah, people do. It's crazy. It's wild.
That's so obvious.
It's just weird, because if you're single, like, no one's stupid. You're going to be talking to people.
But then, I agree with you. I think sometimes guys can do this as well, but I think I've heard this more from women. When they've been talking to a guy and they've started going on dates, there's a level of wishful thinking that he isn't entertaining anyone else, and he might be.
Yeah, women get deluded a little bit.
Hey, you said it on me. I didn't say that, but it's true. I think unless you're in a committed relationship, always assume he's open to dating other people.
That's the thing, and I think it's okay, like, to be dating other people until you've made a commitment to someone. Like, look, it's me and you now. Yeah. We're in this together.
Yeah.
It's fine. You can talk to other people, but I feel like it gets a bit shady. I don't like it personally when you're hiding it, because then it shows, are you going to incorporate that into our commitment later, if that makes sense?
I hear that. And I think that's completely fair. What if the reason he's trying to shield you from it is to kind of respect what you guys have? Because even if you might understand that, okay, I understand we're not exclusive, you might be talking to other people, it's kind of like, I kind of don't need it in my face. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, I don't want to put it in your face if maybe another girl that I may be talking to, getting to know, messages me something while we're spending time. So is there any chance that it could be that's him just trying to show respect for the space that you guys have? Or do you always kind of see it as, nah, he's clearly just trying to hide something?
See, I think it would be disrespectful to not tell me, because if I knew the person, or if later down the line we were serious, I would be annoyed that I wasn't aware of who you were talking to. Or
interesting. So you want him to tell you everyone that he's talking to?
I don't want him to tell me, but I don't want it to be a big secret. Because if I'm open, if he were to ask me, am I talking to anyone else? I would say yes.
Has that ever happened before? Has a guy asked you?
In a talking stage, yeah. And I've said, yeah, I'm talking to people, but it's not like, it's just chat. It's nothing.
Did he ask who they were?
Yeah, he did.
Did you tell him?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's not like, that's what I mean. I feel like with me, I'm open. Unless I'm the same person wherever you put me, whatever room I'm in, whoever I'm around.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like some people aren't, and that's why they need to hide it, if that makes sense.
I think, honestly, it's so admirable for you to be like, hey, I'll tell you this is who I've been talking to, and etc. I think a lot of people are afraid to, because especially if you don't know the person that well, you might not know how they're going to handle receiving that. Do you know what I mean? Because if you do tell them, and then what if they start comparing themselves to this person because they find this person, search them up, and then, you know, that energy kind of creeps to relationship. And to be fair, that's their own due diligence they have to do for themselves.
Yeah.
So they have to take accountability for that. But when you don't know the person, sometimes it's like you're gauging, how much can I share with you for the point that we're at that it's not going to affect us? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there an element of that? Or?
I think in terms of that, there's nothing the other person can do about that. That's just how your other person deals with things.
Very true.
Me personally, I would just find it disrespectful and muggy, because if we ever go out and someone that you've spoken to is there, that maybe you introduced me to, or I know, I would feel like a mug not knowing what's happening in front of my eyes kind of thing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that person would have to know as well. Otherwise they'd be like, why are you with this girl? Who's this?
Yeah. And I'm not saying it should be like you meet someone, you should be like, oh, by the way, I'm talking to this person. That's just silly. But I do think if you feel like you really like someone and you're a bit serious with them more than the rest, I think if they ask you a question like that, I think it's important to be honest.
I agree. I completely agree. I think you like, if it comes up and they ask you, you should be like, hey, yeah, I am talking to other people. I'm open to that for sure. When was the last time you kind of you decided to stop talking to a guy or dating a guy? Like, and what reason was that for?
I stopped talking to someone that I was talking to in March. Because I found out, like, similar situation, I found out a few things that don't run in my book. So
okay,
yeah, it was a bit like, yeah, I'm not putting up with that. So
okay, can you tell us what those things were?
It was more like, the thing is, the guy sold to me like a dream of what he wants to be, kind of thing.
Was he saying what he wanted or what he wanted with you? He
was basically selling himself to me.
Right.
But I think now looking back, I think he wanted to be those things, but he's not. So kind of convincing me that he was.
Right.
And then obviously it came out that he's not those things, if that makes sense.
Okay, was he like pretending to be a footballer and he only played Little League?
What I mean by that is like honest, respectful, you know, he knows what he wants in life, that kind of thing. And then obviously later it came out that that was all cap.
Was it because there were other people he was maybe talking to he hadn't told you about? Was it that? Did he lie something about himself?
Yeah, that as well. Okay. Mainly like just lying. There's no need to lie. Like, we're adults here. Yeah, I think lying is a big thing for me.
I hear that. For sure. Is there something you want to talk about today? Coming back.
I prepared a question for you.
Go for it.
It's more of like, wait, let me get it up.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of, I don't really know how to word it, but basically, I was talking to my friends about this, and I was asking them, what kind of questions do you want to know so I can ask Kit?
Nice.
Yeah.
Appreciate you girls.
And the feedback that I got, they were a lot to do with why men, or a lot of men, I know women do as well, but the men that I know or knew, a lot of them love to experiment with drugs. And I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. It's not really a dating question, but I guess it is because it affects your dating life, right?
Of course.
So, yeah. Do you have any insight into that?
That's a good question. I guess what I would ask is, when you say experiment with drugs, would it be they want to experiment with their partner, they experiment on their own and then try and bring it to their partner, they just do it on their own and trying to pretend that they don't do that with said girl? Like, in what capacity are we talking about?
Okay, so one example that we were discussing, take a guy and a girl, they've been together for years, and then he starts going out a lot, he starts going to raves, this and that, but the girlfriend doesn't know that he's doing drugs at these raves and etc.
Yes.
So it's like, around her, he's still the same person, but at these raves and whatever he goes to and wherever he does it, he takes drugs.
Right.
And obviously that, we know drugs affect your brain. Like, you're not the same person anymore after you've taken it for a prolonged period. So in that situation, why do guys do it, number one, and why do you hide it from your partner?
Yeah, good question. I think there's two things with this. I think the first thing, there's one kind of simple answer and there's one much kind of deeper answer. So I'll start with the simple one. The first thing is that if he suddenly started getting into it, he could be using it to cope with something that he feels he's maybe not comfortable enough to be that vulnerable to share with her. So he could be going through a struggle, going through a stress, and he's using substance to cope with that, because a lot of the time when people are using it in a way to cope with things, it's because using substance like drinking, getting high, it kind of forces you to be in the present moment. And that's why it's so cool, right? Because you can't be thinking about your stresses or the negative emotions you have towards something. It keeps you in the moment, in the high, right? So, and maybe whatever it is that's an issue in his life, maybe he's scared to open up to her. You know what I mean? And maybe it could be he lacks a bit of courage in that because he thinks maybe she won't accept it, when really she would. Because a lot of the time women are like, we want to know, like, because if I care about you, I want to be there for you.
Yeah, you can work on it together.
Exactly. But I think because a lot of guys have maybe done that prematurely before and it's not been received well, it makes them very apprehensive to do that unless they're sure that the girl is like a real ride or die for them. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And that's his own journey and his own growth. The deeper thing I'd say is, if a guy was in a relationship and he starts doing that, usually he was entertaining that scene before to some degree. And it can happen where a guy engages in something that wouldn't be considered like a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
But then he meets this woman and he wants to be a better man for her. So then he stops entertaining that.
Okay.
But then the issue is, there's this concept that I've kind of grown to understand about human beings, and that there is a light wolf and a dark wolf inside of us.
Okay.
And we do different actions and behaviors in life that feed those different wolves. So good actions like helping your friends, giving to charity, maybe giving money to a guy on the street.
Small acts of kindness.
Yeah, that's like good. That's like good food for the light wolf. That's what feeds the light wolf. Food for the dark wolf are the things that indulge in our own self-fulfilling desires.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So things would be like taking drugs, alcohol, gambling, fighting, women. For guys, it tends to be one of those 5 things.
Yeah.
Like, when someone says, when we say, what's your vice? Like, be like, oh, what's your vice? My vice is I love going for a drink, or my vice is I love getting high on the weekend, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So a lot of people's vice, that's food for the dark wolf inside of them. And I think what can happen is, when a guy meets a really good woman that he gets into a relationship with, because he wants to be a better man for her in the relationship, he wants to not feed that dark wolf inside of him anymore.
Yeah, so he kind of traps himself.
Right. Because he's like, cool, I'm not going to feed that side of me anymore. I'm not going to feed that dark wolf. I'm going to starve it and it's going to die. But it never dies. Yeah. Because it's a part of you, right? Yeah. It's a part of you. And so I think what can happen is, when you try and starve that dark wolf, it just gets more hungry and hungry and hungry, and eventually it comes back with a vengeance. So then out of nowhere, suddenly he's going out to parties to doing these raves, and he's taking cocaine, and he's, smoking weed, and he's doing E, and he's doing MDMA, all of this stuff. And she's like, yo, where did this come from? We've been together for like 2 years. You've been so clean, and now this has just come out of come out of nowhere. And a lot of the time it's because that side of himself that he'd been trying to starve, that dark wolf side, has come back with a vengeance. And that doesn't make it okay. But I think part of our maybe evolution of consciousness in relationships that we have is understanding, okay, I recognize that this is dark wolf food for me.
Yeah.
How do I keep it on a tofu diet that keeps it at bay, but also doesn't jeopardize my relationship? Does that make sense? That's a very long-winded way, but I kind of felt I had to go deep into that.
No, it was a good analogy.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like maybe self-awareness plays a big part here.
100%. So it's like, okay, if for example him going to a rave and just getting high off his face is his dark wolf food, which is a certain lifestyle, It could be, okay, what can you do? Maybe you go out with friends and, I don't know, maybe you'll share a joint with someone, and that keeps it at bay. You do that once every couple of months. You're like, cool, that satisfies it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you have to decide, okay, is that kind of lifestyle, is that person that I would choose or not?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think a common issue with that is for some people, you're already too far in. So
can be.
Then that's when people start to think, oh, I don't like it, but I've been with this person for this amount of time. I may as well just let it slide. But I think that's where a lot of people go wrong.
I agree.
Yeah, you shouldn't let things slide if you're not happy with it.
I agree. I think how you approach it with this person can really make a difference as to what inspires them to make a change. So I think, and there's no right or wrong way. Is there a right or wrong way? I would say right or wrong, but I think there are ways that are more effective.
Yeah.
So if you go to this person like, hey, you've been raving, you've been doing this stuff, I don't like it, change up your act, otherwise I'm gone.
Yeah, I don't like that approach.
And it's kind of like, that's one way to approach it. And that might work on a few people, but then all you're actually doing is essentially trying to ask him to enforce the situation he was in before that brought him to that point, because he's going to feel trapped again. But if it's a point of, hey, look, I love you, I care about you, I've noticed this is something you've been doing and I really don't like it, but is there something we can find together that's going to help satisfy that need of yours?
Much better approach.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's up to him to make that change, make that shift. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing, because some people, well, I'm a woman, so I'm going to speak from a woman's perspective.
Go for it.
So some women might just like you said, the approach number one, get really angry and frustrated that this has happened, whatever, understandable.
Yeah, of course.
But again, wrong approach. The second approach was more loving and caring and considering like, I can understand that this is something you want to do. Can we work on it together? Like, let's do something about it. And then I think the key part is, if not, then what do we do? And so where do we go from here?
Of course. So in that sense, I would say that is definitely a point for her to be like, okay, this isn't for me anymore.
Yeah.
Because it takes two people to build a bridge.
Exactly.
She can't just show up doing her side and he's not making the effort to meet her in the middle.
Yeah. And if he's not, then
that's on him.
That speaks words. Yeah. He doesn't want to because he's just not willing to for you. It
could be that he's not willing to for her, or it could be that he hasn't developed the strength to discipline himself the way it needs to. That's going to help the relationship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I hear that. Let me ask you something. Let's take a shift. Yeah, let's talk about desires actually. Let's stay on that. So last time we spoke, I talked about how, as a generalization, there is an innate desire in males to indulge in variety.
Yes, I recall.
So after speaking about that, have you had any more thoughts, evolution of thoughts on that, about men, about how you'd approach something, about topics you would discuss with a guy before getting serious with him?
I think in terms of that, I think I have come more, I've just developed a understanding and an acceptance that men are just like
reluctant this. Acceptance, but an acceptance nevertheless.
Yeah. I don't think it's right. But I just, considering every situation that I know of, my personal situations and other people that I speak with.
Yes.
I've just, accepted this is just something men do. And this is what men are like.
I think it's really important that this isn't condoning it. And exactly. I'm not condoning that. And I want to be very clear. I'm not condoning that. I think it's more, I think a lot of the time, women can take it a rejection of them. They think, oh, because I'm not enough for you. And it's like, babe, it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about you. It's all about him.
I think a lot of men they need to practice self-control.
Sure, true.
Like, just because you find someone attractive, or this is an issue, I think it's soul ties, because when a man has slept with a lot of people and then he finally finds a girl that he really, really likes, but he's got all of these connections with other people, so when they message him, he doesn't know how to say no, or he doesn't necessarily want to. Like, he knows he's found the girl for him, but he's still like, he doesn't want to lose those connections that he'd had before, if that makes sense.
I completely understand what you're saying, but I think that's more for women than for men.
More what, sorry? For women?
As in these soul ties.
Okay.
Like, men can very easily compartmentalize sex to the point that, as in, he can have sex with a woman and like, he has no connection to her. There's no emotional investment. Like, for him, it's literally just like going to the gym. Like, he works up a sweat, gets the release of endorphins, and he leaves without giving it a second thought. That's why. No, I didn't make up this race, but they say the oldest profession, prostitution. They say that men don't pay for sex; they pay so they can leave.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because it's like
no emotional attachment.
I think for women, that's definitely more the case. I think it is more the case. And that's not saying that guys can't have, obviously, connection with women they've had that history with, of course. But I don't think guys have that dilemma as much as women do in terms of how much he'd given himself to so many people that he's now struggling with this current one. Because, yeah, I have seen guys where, you know, they found the girl they want, and then any other casual things they had before, he's just like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, he does say no because he's not emotionally tied to her, so it's easier for him to say no for this one woman. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I can't relate
sure, yeah,
because I don't have soul ties, but
yes,
like, I can understand what you're saying. Yeah, I do think I agree with the women part. It's more emotional for them. Like, personally, I have to build a big connection with someone before I even think about kissing them, let alone but I do think, like, prostitution, the way it's so accessible and easy for men to just snap their fingers or message someone and it's there, I think that's a big issue. Like,
what do you mean?
In society, I don't like this.
Do you think it's an issue that men can do that, or do you think it's an issue that it is available to them?
Both. Like, just because it's available doesn't mean you need to choose it.
I agree, but who is providing that availability?
Yeah, and I think, me personally, I think a lot of the people providing the act or the service,
the service, doing God's work,
are to blame, because if you're not providing it, it's not available. Then it shows men need to actually work hard to secure something like that. Whereas if you're just having it on a plate, if you pay for it, like, it doesn't, you're just showing men that you don't need to work hard to build something with a woman or build a connection. It's just there available.
Yeah, it really enforces the idea that it's very transactional.
Yeah.
And of course, like you said, that doesn't help if it's supposed to be about connection. I do get what you're saying about men. It's interesting when we look at, for example, gay couples.
Yeah.
Because there's an equivalent to this, and I want to know what you think about it.
Okay.
So with, like, gay couples, when you have two men, a lot of the times they'll be very open physically, right? So they may have sex with other men.
Yeah.
But with their partner, they're like, emotionally, this is the only emotional connection that we have. Like, this is what is exclusive for us.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at it like that.
With lesbians, completely the other way around. They're like, physically, it's just you and me. But lesbians will stay best friends with their ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
Like, they'll hang out, be like, oh, I'm hanging out with my ex-girlfriend. Yeah, go do your thing, have fun.
Yeah, that's, like, strange to me.
And for me as a guy, I'm like, that makes no sense to me. I don't know how you can spend time with an ex, someone who you had that level of emotional depth with, and it not be a thing.
Yeah, that's...
So I think that's never. Like the equivalent.
I could never have someone that I'm, like, talking to, whatever, friends with their ex. Are you okay?
Could you, in terms of the emotionality, could you spend time with a guy who you don't want but no wants you?
What do you mean spend time?
So the most obvious one is like a male friend of yours. Like, do you have a few male friends at all?
I have male friends, but I don't meet up with them.
Like, what do you mean? Like one to
we
one?
chat. Like, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. How's the family? Like, vibe.
Okay.
But I don't like meet up and hang out with them because I just think that's a bit weird.
So I don't disagree with you, but why do you think that's weird?
Well,
if they're just friends of yours,
I think if it's a group setting, like if I'm out and they're like, oh, where are you? And I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm here, come. And they're here, cool.
Right.
But I think one-to-one with a male friend, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just something I wouldn't do because I feel like, why am I spending my time in that way? If that makes sense.
So do you feel like one-to-one time crosses into the more intimate space?
I think, yeah. Like as much as you don't fancy that person, like I do think there's always some kind of line that for you to meet up or want to meet up one-on-one with them is a bit more than friends for me, if that makes sense.
You see, I agree with you. But then I think guys run into this wall if they're dating a girl and she's got male friends and the guys are like, your male friends want you. Like, don't you, like, you know, yeah. Right? And she's like, no, they don't. They're just friends, blah, blah, blah. Do girls know?
Girls know.
They do know?
Yeah.
Guys, why are you lying to us, guys? Why are you lying to us, men? We knew that you do.
Do you know what it is? Because I've had this to me before. Like a friend has like tried to like make a little joke here and there and you shut it down. So you think
she is brutal.
So you think that's the end of that?
In that outfit. Shut up. We're just friends. But thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, like literally that. It's like, you know, because he's tried it before.
Yes.
But because you've shut it down, you think that's the end of that story. The book is closed. Now we're platonic. That's what we think going forward. And we are naive because it has happened to me where I just think, yeah, I am friends with you. Like, it's cool. We can go for lunch or we can like get a coffee, whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're men and women. Like, there's going to be some attraction there. You're not going to message someone to meet up if you don't like them like that, like kind of thing. Yeah. And I do have a lot of friends that I talk to.
Yeah.
And if I'm out already, then having a coffee, then fair enough. Like, come see me for a sec. But intentionally to meet up, it's not something that I would personally do, especially if I'm talking to someone that I like.
I get that. And that makes sense. Respect that for sure. I'm guessing it's happened where a guy took an interest in you and then maybe getting to know him, you're like, oh, he's cool, but I kind of see this more platonic. So you kind of be like, oh, like, I think we should just be friends. And maybe he stays, he's like, okay, cool, let's just be friends. How did it make you feel if a guy essentially, you're like, oh, I really like you to be a friend, but you don't want anything more. And he's like, okay, well, like, either we're going to take things forward or like, we're not being friends. Do you think that's fair? Do you think he should be open to a friendship? Because I've heard different things from different people.
I think that's very fair because number one, he's honest. You got to respect the honesty.
Very true. He's
telling you, like, I don't see you as a friend. I like you. Like, I can't be friends with you because I like you too much. This isn't a friendship for me.
Yes.
And then you can take that and see if he's doing that with you, that's how he values a relationship. So
very true.
If he can't be friends with someone like that, then you know his friends aren't someone that he's interested in, if that makes sense.
Big facts. That's actually I haven't even thought about it that way. That's actually so true. Because I think I've talked to a lot of women who go, well, that's just really objectifying, because what you're saying, that what if we're not going to be intimate, then you don't want to spend time with me, even on a friendship level. But actually, because for a guy, I've always been that way, I'll be honest. And my friends, it's like, look, if I take an interest in you and if that's cool, it's not going to be that, then I wish you all the best, but this probably ain't going to be a friendship. I'm not going to be friends with women that personally I find attractive. But a lot of women have taken disdain with that. But actually, maybe it's a sign that, well, if that's how he treats it, if you do get a guy like that, that's how he's going to treat other women.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, let's hope so anyway.
100%. I mean, I'm biased because I'm a guy and that's music to my ears. That's actually a good sign.
No, I think it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Do you look for different things looking for a boyfriend compared to if you were looking for a husband?
No, because having someone become your boyfriend means that you see a future with them, right? You're not just going to let anyone have access to you and like emotionally and physically without seeing them in your future. So I think it should all be the same. I'm not saying, that's not to say that they have to be husband material then and there.
Sure.
Because we're young, we're growing. No one's in a position right this second. Well, some people might be, but no one, I don't come with the expectation that you're going to be husband for me now.
Yes.
But it's something that you grow together, you nurture. And eventually you could be that person. Like, I don't think it should be there shouldn't be different qualities to a boyfriend and a husband. It should be the same.
Are there any girls who ever be like, oh, he's great for now? Does that ever happen? Or is it like anytime they're in a relationship, they're like, nah, it's because I see him as my potential future?
I think, sad to say, but I think it does happen.
Okay.
I think people get lonely and they kind of just accept what's given to them kind of thing. So they might be with someone and then just they know that that's not the person that they want to be with forever.
Yeah.
But because at the moment in time they're feeling down, vulnerable, low self-esteem.
Yeah, 100%.
They accept it and get into like they end up finding themselves in a situation where they know that they don't want to be with this person, but timing kind of led them there, and then they're not happy, and then that's where things the cracks start to show, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Does that happen a lot for women where they kind of just take what they're given?
I think women who have low self-esteem, who I don't want to say don't respect themselves, but there has to be some level of not respecting yourself because lack self-value, maybe. Yeah, lack of self-value, not knowing your worth, not knowing what you want either.
That's a good point.
I think all of these things combined, a lot of women find themselves in that situation where they've just kind of settled for someone that they wouldn't necessarily go for, but because what they want at the time isn't around or available,
right,
they end up accepting it.
Yeah, there's different things. I think the reason I ask that is because I think it's really strange for guys to hear women just take what they can get, because generally speaking, most women have a level of abundance. Like they have a lot of options.
Yeah.
Now, it may not always be the options that they want, but they do have options, right? Take what they get. That's usually a male thing. Yeah. That's usually like most guys are like, I will take what I can get. So it's really interesting to hear that side. Because I guess the whole thing of saying, oh, take what you can get implies a level of desperation.
Yeah.
It implies a level of desperation.
It is. It's desperate. But that's why you have to know. You have to sit down with yourself and think, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. And really stick to that. Because if not, you will be desperate and you're going to end up with someone that you're just going to end up with them walking all over you because you're allowing it. If that makes sense.
I agree with you, but I think it's dependent on what it is you're looking for, whether you're looking for the right qualities. Because if it's, this is what I like, and it's qualities that don't contribute to whether it would be a healthy relationship, whether this man would treat you well, whether he wants to build something with you, that's when I think it shoots a lot of women in the foot. So the typical thing would be, I want a guy who's this attractive, makes this much money, is this famous, or has this much influence, etc., etc. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that caliber of man. But if if that's all you're looking for, you're not looking the quality of character, then the irony is it's very likely that I think most women get to a point where they feel that that kind of man is an option to them, because if you're looking for things that I would call, not that they're not important, but are more surface level, that means that kind of person is only looking for things that are also quite surface level.
Yeah.
So if you're saying, I want a guy who's making X amount, he's like, cool, well, I want a guy who looks this good. And if you're not looking this good, I don't care what kind of woman you are, I ain't choosing you.
Yeah.
And so if your standard in what, I agree you should want what you want, but if your standards on the areas that aren't areas that actually serve a relationship, I think that's when you fall into that. It's very easy to fall into that situation.
Definitely. It should be things. So when you're in a relationship, exactly what you're saying, women can nurture men. And I think men do the same to women. But I think it's important to focus more on what the qualities that you're talking about. So characteristics, like, are you a trustful person, a truthful person?
Very true.
Can you commit to what you're saying? Do your words mean things?
Big facts.
Honesty, like all of these things. Because if you have two people together and they're both honest, they both can be relied on, they both speak from the heart, they got your back, all of these things, I think you can work together to nurture each other to becoming that person with the big paycheck, the one that looks good all the time.
Sure.
So you might not start off in that position, but if you both have goals that are aligned, then you can help each other get to that place. So in terms of women or men saying, I want someone with a big paycheck, this successful, looks good all the time, whatever,
great
big
body,
influence,
whatever it is,
great body, those are things that you can get from each other if you were to water the grass that you have.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. That definitely can happen. Is that something that we should choose upon though? So what I mean is, should we choose people expecting them to change into the person that we actually want them to become?
I wouldn't say, I think the key word is change, because you don't need to change the person. You just need to help them grow. So pick someone that you like, who they already are, and assist them, boost their ego, help them become a better person by doing things that they already want to do.
Sure. That's the thing. They have to already want to do it, though, don't they? Yeah.
You're just helping them through that process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. So imagine if you were in a position where you felt that, and if I'm just being completely real, at least I'd say half of my female clients, they're in their age range of like 28 to like 38. Okay. So that kind of bracket where they're at a point where, they're ready to settle down, find something serious, start having a family, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
What would you do for yourself if you were in a situation, or if, you're in that point where you felt that the kind of man you would like to attract and that kind of person isn't coming into your life, and the options that you have that you feel, okay, if I do choose one of these, I feel like I'm settling. How do you handle being in that position? Because I think many women feel like they're in that position.
Yeah. That's a tough one, because I do sympathize with older people who they may have like been with someone for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then it gets to a stage where, of no fault of their own, they're not with that person anymore. And it just sucks because they have to deal with that now. So they have to start again when they already thought that this was it. This was end game.
Big facts.
And I really, really sympathize with those people, because it's not fair, and it's annoying that people can't take responsibility for their actions before ruining someone's life like that.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that their life is ruined just because of this, but it does affect people a lot, because you have your life set up, and then all of a sudden it's not in control anymore.
You build this image of what your future is going to be, and then that's kind of taken away.
And you thought you were on the same page, but turns out it's not. But I think in terms of that, I think it's important to keep busy. Do things, like don't just sit in your house because you're not going to find anyone there.
Big facts.
I've never been a fan of dating apps, so I wouldn't advise on that because I'm not too keen on them. But I get it because people can't bother to go out all the time. And also a lot of people in that age group, their friends are settled, so they don't really have anyone to go out with and stuff.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm best informed about this or...
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I was just asking what would you do for you, essentially?
If I was that age?
Yeah, if you were in that position.
I think focus... The way I deal with things is keeping busy and putting all my energy on other things that maybe I was putting off whilst in a relationship. So although I've never been in that position, and I'm grateful for it.
Okay, touch wood.
I would hate to be in that position. So I think if I were, I would keep busy, find new hobbies, really focus on yourself. Like what is something that you've done previously that you didn't really have time for in the past? A lot of people meet people in the gym. A lot of people... I know it's not a great thing.
The gym is a hard one.
Yeah.
The gym is a hard one because there's so many... There was this wave of like...
Yeah.
women videoing guys who are creeping on them. Some of them completely justified. Guys were creeping on them. Some of them would look like he's just looking over because you're working out and you've got a camera like in the gym. Like it's just normal for people to go, oh, like what's that person doing over there?
Yeah.
Some of it are justified. Some of it, I think, just people look for attention. But that has scared a lot of guys off.
Yeah.
Be like, you may be in the gym, she looks great, but I'm not trying to be on TikTok getting called out.
Yeah. I think with that whole thing.
Yes.
It's a bit of an awkward one because if you literally just worked out like really hard and you're all sweaty and like red and whatever, I think that's a bit awkward. But if you're just like... It means
he loves you at your worst. He's going to adore you at your best. What do you mean? That's the best time.
Have some consideration for how the woman feels.
Okay, sure. I hear that.
But if you're like getting a bottle of water or you're waiting for a machine, I think like fair game. Like why can't he approach you? Just tell him, look, I'm not interested. That's it. I get some guys sometimes don't know
how to say no for an answer.
Yeah, which I think that's when it becomes an issue.
Yeah, they think you can change your mind. That's true.
Yeah, but I don't see anything wrong. Like, can't blame a guy for trying.
Why can't girls try?
Girls can if they want.
Would you?
Hell no.
There you go, baby.
Hell no.
Why wouldn't you ever shoot your shot?
Nah, it would always play on my mind like, you're with me because I approached you. Like, I need to be approached. Yeah.
Wait, but he wouldn't be there if he didn't want to, just because you approached.
Nah, that would play on my mind. I would think he would.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to be the prize in the relationship? Is that why?
I don't think the prize, but I think there should be... You're both each other's prize, right? It's equal.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So why would it matter if you approached him?
Nah, that's not something. You would never catch me.
So you've never shot your shot with a guy ever?
Hell no.
Really?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Women should, if you feel like you have the confidence to do that, do it.
You feel like you don't have the confidence to?
No, it doesn't go through my mind. It's not something that I see a guy and I would never think to myself, I'm going to go over and talk to him. Like, it's just not in my thought process.
Interesting. You see, listen, each to their own. But if the only options you will accept are the ones that come to you, that means you are very much limiting the agency in who you will end up with. And like, so, and the thing is, I would say there's a feminine way to approach as opposed to like just going up saying, hey, I think you're cute.
Okay, what have you experienced or seen? How would you like a girl to approach you? For the ladies out there.
That's a very good question. Okay, so I probably can count on one hand how many times a woman has like actively just come up to me.
Okay.
Right? And I'll be honest, that I enjoyed that.
Did you?
Yeah. Because as a guy, we don't expect it.
Yeah.
Like, we never expect it to happen. So even when we're being approached, we're like, oh, wait, you talking to me? Like, we're caught
You're a
off
bit
guard.
like, whoa.
That makes us nervous because, like, we're not, at least if we do the approach, we're like prepared for the conversation mentally. Whereas if we're approached, we're not prepared. So she's still in kind of the position of power and influence in that dynamic, I'd say.
Yeah.
It used to be called dropping the handkerchief. Do you know what that means?
No.
So back in the day where we had lady and gentleman-y times.
I love those times.
I know. No, what happened, man? What happened? Social media came and ruined everything.
Damn.
But imagine if, you know, like you were with your girlfriends or something and you're sitting like a coffee shop and you're just talking and drinking and stuff, and then a gentleman walks in who looks very charming, very dashing, very handsome.
Yeah, I see where this is going.
And then you're like, oh, he's really cute. So you drop the handkerchief as he walks past.
Like, oops.
Exactly.
Bend and snap moment.
Right. And because he's a gentleman, he picks it up and goes, oh, hey, madam, sorry, you dropped this. And then he sees you.
Okay, so she's initiated it, but...
So she provided the avenue for that to happen. And then, you know, the irony is, you know, one thing leads to another. They then, you know, get married, have kids, live happily ever after, whatever.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh, how did you guys meet? He'll be like, oh, well, you know, I just saw in this coffee shop after I picked up this handkerchief and that's when I knew.
Yeah.
And it's like he portrays the story that he chose her, but nah, bruh, she chose you.
Yeah.
She chose you.
See, that I think is a much classier way of doing things.
Well, you could do that now. We just, you know, we just don't have handkerchiefs anymore.
Exactly. What are you going to drop? Your phone?
Babe, I dropped my phone. Like, shit, is it broken? Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's ways. Essentially, what she did is she kind of, and he didn't know, but she kind of sent him what we would call a choosing signal. And I think as a woman in today's, when you're out and about, you can send choosing signals. Yeah. So part of that is if you're at a bar or something like at a coffee shop and you see a guy, you make that eye contact with him and you smile. And not just like a look and you look away, because sometimes that's not enough. Because a guy can just be like, or people, sometimes you just lock eyes with people across the room by accident, by chance.
Yeah,
right?
You're not going to think that everyone...
Right? They'll be like, well, I've locked eyes with like 5 people in this coffee shop. They all must want me.
Literally gonna have to, yeah.
Literally. Horse blinders on.
Tunnel vision.
Literally. But if you have that level of eye contact and you smile to the point that he sees that you see him and you smile, that energy, I guarantee you he's going to be like looking at you for like the rest of the time that he's there.
Yeah. You're kind of like, it's okay to come over.
Now, here's what I would say though, because a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, if girls are out at a bar or something, they're with their girls.
Yeah, it's quite intimidating.
And so a guy approaching a girl in a group, that's like to him, you're just a pack of wolves.
Yeah, I get that.
Do you know what I mean? So one thing that I work with my clients to do is once they've sent that choosing signal, they've expressed the level of avenue for him to pursue. Yeah. She has to separate herself from the group.
Okay. And that's the thing, is it? Because
that gives him the opportunity to come and talk to you.
You know what? Now that you're saying that, it makes sense why you always get approached like when you're on the way to the toilet or...
Of course.
Yeah, it makes so much sense.
Because here's the thing, just being real. Yeah. If you're an attractive young woman, if you go into a bar or a club, the truth is 85% of those guys in the club want to come and approach you. That's the truth. Okay. But 84% are don't feel they have the permission to approach you. Yeah. So when you send these choosing signals, you make eye contact with him, you smile at him. Maybe if you walk past, you make eye contact subtly with him again. Yeah. To the point that you've not even said 2 words to the guy and you're already a presence in his environment. Right? He's going to be looking at you, watching you. He'll be like, is she going to look at me again? Is she going to smile at me again? And then you go to the bar away from your table to order a drink by yourself. He's going to come up.
I think that's kind of sweet. I like that.
Dropping the handkerchief.
Yeah.
That's dropping the modern day handkerchief. So when I say, would you approach a guy? that's a way that you can shoot your shot without actually putting yourself in the, what would I say? The firing range for rejection.
Do you know what? I think I've never thought too hard about it, but those things happen subconsciously. Like thinking about it now, it probably has happened before, but unintentionally. Like I didn't mean to do that, but it has happened. So
when you say you didn't mean to do that, you didn't mean to kind of signal the guy to come and approach you, or like the guy that you liked has just somehow he's the one who has come and approached you for whatever reason. I think
I've probably been in a situation before where I've like had eye contact with someone and then not thought anything of it.
Sure.
And then I'm just chilling with the girls, gone to the toilet because I need to pee. And then been approached, but thinking of it in that perspective, that is probably what's happened on his end.
Yeah.
Not realizing that's what's happened. Yeah. If that makes sense.
So I would say, I think, and to be fair, if I'm being honest, kind of reading from your energy, like you are a woman who feels like you sit in your feminine quite a lot. So that already sitting in your feminine already attracts that masculine energy, a guy wanting to approach you and stuff like this.
Yeah.
So now you know you have this power. Now it's just for you using it intentionally.
I feel like now you told me about it, I'm gonna not want to look at anyone.
Just looking down.
Because I don't want to feel like I'm hitting on anyone.
No, but I think it's different. Like I said, like just making random eye contact with people. But then when you look at someone and you maintain it and then you smile at them, you give them that energy. Nah, like the guy's gonna be like, oh right, yo, maybe she
needs a week.
Do you know what I mean? And I think the irony is a lot of the time, this is why, when guys are like, yo, I think she's so into me, bro. And she's like, definitely not into him because they made eye contact. Yeah. Because so little women actually kind of give that level, guys are just looking for anything, any sign anywhere.
Yeah.
They're like, guys, I think this is her hair. She left it here on the chair that I'm sitting on. That must mean she's into me, bro.
It's a sign.
It's a freaking sign. So when you make that really clear, especially because I think for a lot of women, a lot of young women, they feel that they want guys to approach.
Yeah.
But the guy that they want to approach doesn't approach them. And the guys who do approach, they don't want.
Yeah.
And so part of it is, if we're going from the point that you want a guy who is confident, a level of emotional intelligence, but also has respect for women, he's going to be looking for those signs.
Okay.
Because he's going to be like, I'm not just going to randomly approach a girl because she may not want to be approached that day.
Yeah.
And I want to respect that. Do you know what I mean? So, but if she does want to be approached, I'm open to receiving those signals. And if I receive those signals, then I know it's a green light.
Yeah. I like that.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The kind of guy I assume most women want, who confident but has a level of respect, he's not going to approach you if he doesn't feel like he's been given that green light from that feminine side of you. Whereas the guys who just approach you, it's like, I didn't even look at you, bro. And you approach me.
Move.
Like that says a lot about his level of awareness to maybe how a woman communicates indirectly.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's really interesting, these things.
You can do it, girl. I believe in you.
You still won't catch me approaching it.
she ain't gonna shoot her shot. Let me ask you one more thing. Okay, so you know how we said about the innate desire in men, not that it's permissible for them to indulge in it, but you're like, I've just kind of accepted this is a thing with the male species.
Yeah.
What do you think is a desire in women that men struggle to accept?
A desire that women have that men struggle to accept.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a difficult one. Without being a guy, I don't know if I have much perspective on this.
Like, what's something that women want that guys are like, if we're together, I just don't, I struggle to accept that this is something that maybe women desire. Okay,
so speaking like, I'm going to generalize now.
Go for it.
I think women, this is really, really minor.
Go for it.
But I think a lot of women, like when they get into a relationship, a guy might be like, I don't want you posting bikini pictures, whatever. Whereas with a woman's perspective would just be like, we're just on the beach. It's not anything.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, it's not that deep, whatever. But I think I think that with women, I think that comes from some kind of sense of autonomy, bodily autonomy. Like, I want to be in control of what I can do. And if I'm on the beach, why can't I just take a picture? Like, we're not doing anything wrong. But I can understand as a boyfriend, it's not great to see your girlfriend on Instagram with the bikini all the time.
Sure.
Because of the type of attention it attracts. I get it. But I think, even though that's something minor, I just thought of it on the spot, I think that is something guys think about.
I agree with you, but I think it's something else.
Okay.
And you might disagree. I don't think it's to do with the autonomy. I think something that women desire, and I might get some heat for this, but I'm going to say it how it is and I'll explain myself why. I think something that women desire, that men struggle, is validation from other men that she is desirable.
Okay, I can see that.
And it's not because she's out there trying to get other men, but the validation of other men that she is a desirable woman, I think that is a desire that women have naturally that men struggle to accept.
I agree.
Because I think, like, for example, do you know Steph Curry? Basketball player.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So his wife, Aisha Curry, right? Bear in mind, this guy's like the MVP of the world right now.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Right? He's like one of the best NBA players, shooters of all time. He's at the top of his game in one of the most elite industries you could ever be in.
Yeah.
Right? And he adores this woman. This is his wife. He has kids with.
That's so sweet. I love that.
Right. And he's not one of those NBA players who's out and about sleeping with other women on the road, blah, blah, blah. Like, real talk, he's like, man. He's every woman's dream. And she has repeatedly said over the years, or past few years especially, that she doesn't like the fact that she doesn't get attention from men.
Really?
Like, she doesn't like the fact that other guys don't approach her. Because she's like, women approach him all the time. Like, he gets so much attention. Women are always like pining after him. And she's like, guys aren't coming after me.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't guys coming after me? And it's like, as a guy, for us, it's like, you are in the position almost every woman in the world would want to be in.
Yeah.
You have the top guy. He absolutely adores you. He could indulge in other options, and it goes along a lot of the time with a guy in that level, in that territory, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he comes home to you every night and he adores you, and he's not even private about that. But yet you're out here complaining that other guys don't approach you. Also, have you maybe taken into account maybe the reason other guys don't approach you is because they have respect for him?
Yeah, exactly.
But she still wants that, even though technically she kind of has the dream position a lot of women would want. And I think when it comes to like posting on social media, online and stuff like that, I do think that is desire that some women will admit, some women don't admit. They just like the validation of other men that they are desirable. Because what I find really interesting, and I've had a guest on, if she watches this, she knows I'm talking about her, where she was in a relationship for a long period of time.
Yeah.
But she never posted a photo of him. She posted beauty, sexy photos. She posts with her friends. And I asked her flat out, I was like, if you posted a photo with your boyfriend, do you think they get the same amount of likes and attention? She was like, no. I was like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It's true though.
It is true.
Do you know what I mean? So that's what I think. I think that's a desire in women that men just struggle to accept.
No, I agree with that. I think you're totally right.
Do you know what I mean?
But I think I was going to say initially, well, I think her validation should come from her boyfriend. But you're saying that the wife still wants other people's validation rather than her own husband.
This is what she's been seen saying, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just her problem. Well, I think probably a lot of women are like that, but I would be more than satisfied with that. Like, that is what you want. Like, if you have one person that adores you and treats you like a queen and loves you and all of everyone wants to be with him or be him, like, how are you still complaining? I don't get that.
I agree. I mean, I agree. I think the equivalent is women are going, oh, as a guy, if you have a great woman who's beautiful, sexy, attractive, and you're sleeping with this whatever, like, what more do you want?
Yeah.
And I think that's the equivalent. Let me ask you, because your Instagram profile is public, right?
Yeah.
If you got into a relationship, would you make it private for him?
If it's something that bothers him, I would be open to discussion, and yeah, probably make it private.
I would be open to discussion. That's not a yes.
Do you know why? I wouldn't. It would be
not that you change how you post. You just make it private.
I would change how I post if there's something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what I mean. Like, in a relationship, you need to take what your partner's saying, consider it, and then discuss how you're going to act on it. If someone I'm with just said to me, don't do this, don't do that, without an explanation, I'm going to be like, you're not my boss.
Sure.
Like, I respect you, so let's talk about this. Tell me why, and then we'll see what we can do. I would. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I would make it private if that's something that really bothered my boyfriend, because I don't care about it. Like, it's not something that I'm going to risk my relationship about or for.
Do you think do you think it's unreasonable for a guy to have this conversation with a girl that maybe he gets to a serious relationship with now, and he's like, look, I know you like posting beauty, sexy stuff online and stuff, but if we're going to be together, I'm just not really comfortable with the attention that invites. Do you think that's a reasonable expectation for him to have?
Yeah, I do. I think it's always reasonable to have a conversation with your partner about something that might be bothering you.
Yeah.
The only way I can see it being more of a lengthy discussion is for like top influencers that when you met her, that's what she was doing. That's how she makes her annual wage. Like, that is what she does. That's the only time where I think it's a bit of a big ask, because you're asking her to give up her financial income.
I agree.
But I still think it should be considered.
Yes.
Like, maybe you can change your audience.
Yeah.
Adapt. Yeah, I do think it. I don't think it's inconsiderable. What was the word that you used? Unreasonable.
Unreasonable.
At all.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think if it's if she's making money off it, that's like her main income.
Yeah.
Then actually him approaching her with that, he's actually asking a bigger question.
Yeah.
He's essentially being like, hey, I don't like your profession. I want you to like shift what you're doing.
But are you going to retire her? Like, she has a lot to think about if that's the case.
Interesting. Like, I don't disagree with the whole thing of like, okay, well, if I'm not going to do this anymore, you have to pay for my life entirely. But why can't you just do something else? Like, there's plenty of ways to earn money without having to show your body online.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm not saying she should, but I'm just asking the question.
No, if there's something that she can do, like the same thing, but just don't be so exposed, something like that, then great.
The fellas aren't paying for that. They want to see the goods.
Wait, we're talking OnlyFans here? I was talking
to be fair, just social media. To be fair, there's some outfits on Instagram where it's like she's technically wearing it, but everything could be seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Then that's also something that the guy needs to take into consideration when thinking about making her his girlfriend.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So
I completely agree.
It's responsibility on both ends here.
I agree. I think if she does it for her work, I think he shouldn't expect anything different.
Yeah.
But if she doesn't, I think it could be okay. And ideally, I think this is a conversation to be had before the relationship is established.
Yeah.
Not when you're already in it. Because that could really determine whether this person is aligned with you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because if they can't do something maybe that simple for you, then do they really like you that much?
It's a good question. It's a good question for sure. Just to finish off, what is one thing, because last time you were on, we were in 2023. Now we're in 2024.
I made it, guys.
She made it. What is one thing that you are looking for this year that you weren't looking for last year?
Did you ask me this question last time?
I don't think I did.
Oh, okay. That I wasn't looking for last year. Peace.
Amen.
I just don't want people's drama just move from me. If
No,
you've got drama, just go
we'll
away.
watch drama on TV, but
yeah, just be pure, please.
Yeah.
Leave me out of it.
100%. We love that.
What about you?
What am I looking for this year? More time with my family and friends.
Oh, that's sweet. That's a good one.
I think there have been periods, I'm always very busy a lot of the time, especially with acting and this.
Yeah.
And there have been times where I've missed occasions or important things because of my career and work.
Oh, that sucks.
And usually I always manage to make time for it, but it happened, I think, the first time over the past couple of years where I missed something that I really want to be at. And so now it's like just making that an active priority where I can, as opposed to, it's not that I was never there, I would be there and stuff, but it was very much a passive thing. Whereas now it's very much an active thing that I want to make sure happens, because those are the moments you tell your kids about and your grandkids about and you reminisce about on your deathbed. And while career and, you know, doing well, that's great, but I don't think anyone's ever been on their deathbed being like, wow, I really wish I made more money.
Yeah, for real.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
People are like, I really wish I spent more time with my niece or my cousin or my brother or my whatever. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I would say.
Well, if you did spend more time, maybe on your deathbed, you will be like, I wish I made more money.
I wish I made more money. Well, I would never, I mean, I like to think I would never put myself in a position where I'd be struggling like that.
Yeah.
So, and they understand that.
No, I think that's a really good one.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Family time.
Listen, we appreciate you. Thank you for coming back on,
Likewise.
gracing us with your energy. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
TikTok or Instagram. My Instagram is @_ Georgina Thomas. And on TikTok it's the other way around. So Georgina Thomas _.
Damn. Hey, at least it's the same. It's the same words, right?
It's the
Just
same.
different order. Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you, Georgina.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, thank you for watching our show today. Make sure you go and show Georgina some love, give her a follow, like all that good stuff. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode.